weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Inside every backpack is more than just books. There's potential, goals, and really big dreams. Hi, I'm Tim Royers, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Public schools are filled with opportunity, but it takes support at home to help students unlock it. Cheer on their progress, stay involved, and believe in what they can become. Because when families lift students up, there's no limit to how far they'll go. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Spring storms happen, but LES line workers are ready. While they're out in the weather, you can stay inside and still lend a hand by reporting your outage at les.com/report.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to March Mayhem, live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here, March Mayhem at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and Ho. You are here until 6, but we've only got a few more minutes with Nebraska royalty here. Jason Peter, Grant Wistrom in the building. Thanks again, guys, for coming down and joining a Nebraska basketball victory, and then jumping on the radio here as pitching in for Jay Foreman, who is down there in OKC. So he gets to go and have a lot of the fun, but that is all good.
He's a hoop guy, though, so
Yeah.
I can no problem filling in for Jay here.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you did. Of course, we've been talking about Nebraska football, the spring game coming up. What are you guys going to be looking for there? As we've kind of talked about, and you mentioned too, a lot of the interest is going to be on the front lines, but it's hard to tell because, which front line, if one front line dominates, is the other front line in trouble?
Yeah, probably, but that's why you got the fall too. It's not like you're bringing in any new guys. It's not like any freshmen are going to come in and set the world on fire, but there's still time. So, use the spring game. If you get, defense gets it handed to them, evaluate it, figure out what we've got to do, and then hammer down on the guys. Don't let anything slide. And the guys got to take ownership of it too. It's like, oh, we got our butts kicked by the offense. We got to do things differently this summer. We got to spend more time in the weight room. We got to spend more time on the practice field outside of the hours that are mandatory. And if they have any sense of pride, they're not going to let themselves be the weak link of the football team.
Yeah, the thing that's concerning for me heading into the spring is usually I mean, what side of the ball usually has the advantage, like going into spring and going into fall camp? It's usually the defense, right? Usually defense, because offense, especially now when you talk about all the new players, new quarterback, new receivers, there's so much timing involved, right? But everything that we've heard is that offense has dominated this spring. So that's a little worrisome. Because usually, like I said, the defense is ahead of the offense at this point. But I don't know if that's a sign of what's to come, but it's certainly something that I want to see on the spring game. I want to see defense, see how they're running to the football, see how, linebackers are fitting in with the defensive line, how the defensive ends, can they keep contained? Can they run, inline stunts, simple stuff. But yeah, these are things that I think, heading into year 4 now, and you don't just get to say this is a new team this year, right? Like, yeah, that's part of college football now, right? Is you got to try to replace or, reload and do that sort of thing now with NIL. But it's year 4 and there's no excuses, right? Like, and you don't have the cupcake schedule that you had last year. Now this is a real deal, right? So it's not just a matter of the teams that you have to play, but when you go and play Indiana, are you playing with a full roster the next week when you got to play Oregon? Because you're not playing Northwestern before you're playing Oregon. You're playing Indiana. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that was like, I only say that because I've heard coaches that coached against Nebraska when we were playing, and they would say one of the things that we were always concerned about going into the Nebraska game was not necessarily the Nebraska week, but what players were we going to have available to play the following week?
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens here, but it'll be interesting. Obviously, they have a week off here now, and then they jump right into pretty much game week. Is that going to impact the timing of offense and defense and stuff like that? I imagine it would. I think you probably saw some of that in college football playoff. The teams that had the bye weeks, most of them, I think, lost right the first week that they played, and that's TO was always, whenever we had a week off or when we went down to the bowl game, I mean, we would usually, the bowl game, we'd have 2 in 12 13 days, we'd usually have 2 full live scrimmages. So that's important stuff, but coming out of a spring break week where who knows what the kids have been doing, how will that impact how they look? Hopefully it doesn't impact them at all, but I would guess that there's some sort of impact there.
And you guys mentioned, too, kind of on the opposite end, and for where Nebraska was compared to where they are now, is that teams like Kansas State, Colorado might play with extra emphasis against you guys and be able to make it a little bit closer. This year, Nebraska is going to be facing that. And, again, we talked about the quiet offseason, all the different reasons. Part of that schedule, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. From your guys' experience, and maybe if you had the perfect answer, you might be coaching right now. But what was it about some of those teams that were able to punch up for those games? Was it coaches, motivation, or what was it that Nebraska now on the opposite end is going to have to step up for those big time games?
We'll go. You want to go?
Yeah, I don't. The coaches were the coaches, and they never changed who they were, whether we're playing in a national championship game or we're playing Akron. Didn't matter. It was just the complete focus was on that game. And we're playing Akron. They're probably sneaking a few plays in, we're putting, our opponent for the next week because we should beat Akron. We should always beat Akron. So they're working some things in. I really think that it came from I'm sorry. What? Repeat the question.
It's
Bob.
not a podcast.
I held it in.
No, you did not.
I held it in.
I heard the F word and I heard the hard K at the end.
You wanted to hear it. Could you repeat the question?
I was just asking, what for the teams that surprised you guys, because you guys were in the Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana territory that Nebraska is going to have to go. What was it about the teams, the Kansas States, the Colorados, trying to think about your specific years, but teams that didn't necessarily like Nebraska now, probably wasn't going to beat Oregon 9 out of 10 times, but what was it that they were able to do to cause trouble for you guys?
Luckily not much, luckily much. And it was just because we did not care. It did not matter who the opponent was. It didn't matter what the score was. We'd go down to Mizzou. When we're staying on the field against Mizzou our senior year, we got to drive 60 yards to score to win the game. There's not one person on the sideline that did not believe that was going to happen, and we were not going to win that football game, because we just had the ultimate belief in ourselves, because we knew all the dues that we've paid for 364 days just to get up to that moment. And we knew that we outworked everybody. We knew that we'd spent more time in the weight room, more time on the practice field, more time in film study. So there was just an absolute resolve, no matter what the score was, we were going to win. And so it didn't matter the mentality of the other team coming in, they were punching up or anything like that. We knew that we were going to throttle whoever we played. And a couple times it didn't work out for us. But the large majority of the time, just that mentality that it did not matter. We believed in ourselves. It didn't matter what they did. It only mattered what we did. And if we go out and execute the way that we can, we play as hard as we can, they can't hold a candle to us.
And I would argue that the coaches were probably more hard on us during the weeks that we had inferior opponents, when we played Akron, or even though Central Florida had Dante Culpepper, and they were just harder on us that week. Weeks that I think we would go in thinking, all right, we're 18, 19 years old, you don't know anything, you just know high school football, which is nothing compared to big time Division I football. But the coaches would always just, make a point of I think making sure we were always mentally and physically ready, no matter who we were playing.
Yeah, that'll be definitely interesting. I forget when I talked to you guys, you lost once or twice throughout your career, so you don't have too many. Twice. You don't have too many losses to reflect back on for those experiences. But man, were those special times. I know you guys get it everywhere you go. I watch it live here. A lot of Husker fans coming up and appreciating you for those days, and certainly we appreciate you guys once again stepping in for Jay as our time is coming up. But hopefully we'll hear from you again pretty soon here on the ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks. There they go. Jason, Peter, and Grant Wistrom, two of the best to ever do it. That'll wrap it up for this first hour of Old School. We got one more coming from 68th and 0 and Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll be right back.
You're listening to March Mayhem. Live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Graham Tire presents Life's Greatest Adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0 for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with the lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hey fellas, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. So here's your friendly reminder that ignoring your gut isn't a strategy on the field or in real life. Once you hit 45, screening isn't optional anymore. It can literally save your life. Advanced medical imaging makes it easy with fast, comfortable CT colonography. No hospital hoops, no all-day ordeal. Just a simple scan that helps you stay ahead of the game. Talk to your doctor about getting your screening ordered at AMI and keep yourself in the lineup for the long run.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And electrical.
Nebraska men's basketball is dancing. The Huskers qualified for the NCAA tournament, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to cover all the action. Follow me, Austin Orman, on all 93.7 The Ticket social media platforms for updates throughout Nebraska's appearance in the Big Dance. Our coverage from Oklahoma City is made possible by Sandhills Careers and Insight Partners.
Inside every backpack is more than just books. There's potential, goals, and really big dreams. Hi, I'm Tim Royers, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Public schools are filled with opportunity, but it takes support at home to help students unlock it. Cheer on their progress, stay involved, and believe in what they can become. Because when families lift students up, there's no limit to how far they'll go. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, where your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to March Mayhem, live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. We got one more hour of Old School and of our broadcast here from Buffalo Wings and Rings for March Mayhem. That is today, because tomorrow we will be back to do the exact same thing from 11 to 6. We'd invite you to join us. It was a raucous, great Nebraska crowd. A historic day here in Nebraska basketball, and I would want to be in no other place including Oklahoma City, than right here in Buffalo Wings and Rings, because the crowd, the environment, it was just awesome. I'm sure it was at OKC as well. Of course, we got our guys down there. That's why Austin Orman and Jay Foreman actually are not here on Old School, is because they made the trip down to OKC. So many Husker fans did. It was beautiful to see Nebraska fans take over that building. Not surprised. Be interested if you know what it would look like if Nebraska got the draw to Buffalo. But Oklahoma City, of course, not too much more than a drive for some people, a 6-hour drive, whatever it might be. And so Nebraska fans flooded the arena and should be ready for Vanderbilt on the other side. Once again, if you're just joining us, Vanderbilt did beat McNeese today 78-68, which would be expected via the seeds, right? Vanderbilt being the 5 seed and McNeese being the 12. So a little bit of a closer game. They had to hold their breath a little while longer. 3-point halftime lead, but ultimately got some separation. So here we are, Vanderbilt, a team who has had a similar path to Nebraska, maybe as you could put it. If you remember when Nebraska was on their undefeated streak to start the season, Vanderbilt was there for quite some time as well. They were 16-0 was Vanderbilt to start the year before dropping 3 straight to Texas, Florida, and Arkansas. Of course, a little bit of a rocky jumping, back and forth path in the SEC. From there, they ended up 11-7 in the SEC, but especially once they got to the SEC tournament, they turned it on. Back-to-back victories over Tennessee to close out the regular season, and then in the SEC tournament, Tennessee, of course, is an NCAA tournament team, and then that victory over Florida by 17. That's the number 1 seed, Florida. Within their last 3 games, they've beaten the 1 seed, Florida. Then lost to Arkansas in that SEC championship game before today, beating McNeese 78-68. If you look at them too, and specifically in that game, the primary defender, the biggest draw for Nebraska that they're going to have to do, that's going to try to shut down Tyler Tanner of Vanderbilt. The average is over 19 points per game, 26 in their first round matchup on 7 of 16 shooting, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Also helped out in the assist department, leading the Commodores with 5 assists, was third on the team today with 7 rebounds. So that's going to be kind of the primary guy to look out for. But 4 of their 5 starters in double figures today, so it's more than just the Tyler Tanner show. I'm Jake Falkman, joined by Nick Wyman here. Do want to give a shout out to Graham Tire Company. It is a sponsor here of Old School. It is celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. Nick Wyman, here we are. The place that matters most for Nebraska is that next round with Vanderbilt. As you are watching the Vanderbilt-McNeese game, or, just kind of your intel on Vanderbilt so far, how are you feeling about the matchup on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. They are Nebraska and them are 2 of the last 6 or 7 undefeated teams in college basketball. And what do you know? Here they are matching up against one another in a round of 32 game. And also, if you're watching Old School, there's 2 games on right now currently. Both games are kind of out of reach. If you'd like to join in on the conversation with me and Bach here, 402-464-5685 on the Sarah Heyman Jewelers text line. But yeah, it's interesting that Vanderbilt, heck of a year for them. They are a team that nobody really talked about in the SEC. Alabama's, your Auburns, coming off of what they did last year and years prior, they were kind of the top dogs. Others, Kentucky, obviously, is out there. Missouri, they're in the tournament. There's a number of SEC teams. Vanderbilt, not really a big talked about basketball team. The last time I can remember a Vanderbilt team being talked about this was when John Jenkins was shooting 3-pointers for them years ago. There's a name. He played for the Mavs. Drop him in there. March Madness legend John Jenkins. He played in PBA during that game when the Mavs played the Bulls here in the preseason games. Doug McDermott made that shot.
Doug McDermott game.
But let's forget about that. This is Nebraska's moment. Nebraska playing Vanderbilt, very interesting style. Vanderbilt likes to score. They don't play a prolific defense, but they have really good guard play. And we all know guard play can take you very far in this tournament. Historically, it has. I'm excited. We don't know the tip time yet. I know I've seen in the text line. I want to give a shout out to Terrell Farley. Not only working overtime today, but he also left his laptop here, so I'm able to read the text line. So remember, 402-464-5685 if you'd love to chime in on the conversation. We still got people down here after – some people have been here the entire time, Buck.
That's right.
It's crazy to see the kind of fan support. And if you weren't able to catch the game, you were able to listen to it here Listen to post game. It was the vibes are high. Nebraska, the goalpost is going to get moved just because this team won a tournament game, because now that stat will never be talked about again. Obviously, Nebraska, the last Power 4 team to do it. But you have an interesting clash of styles. You have Nebraska, a team which is a very fundamentally sound team. They're obviously the first 10 minutes or whatever weren't too great. But Price Sanford hit 5 threes in the first half, I believe, and that really put Nebraska on his back. And then from then on, Troy just couldn't hit a shot, went on about a 4.5 minute spurt to the end of the first half, and it was all Nebraska from there on out. So now you're getting an interesting matchup. Cornhuskers, Commodores, one of those teams as we head into the Sweet 16. And after that, more than likely, if the top seeds all win, could be a matchup with Florida. So you could get a Vanderbilt-Florida matchup with a SEC all-around SEC semifinal, or you could potentially get a Nebraska against a Florida team. And if you would have told somebody back a year ago, hey, this team that's going to the college basketball crown is going to be playing the soon-to-be national champions of last year, they would have thought you were nuts.
Yeah, Nebraska is going to have a chance to continue making noise, like you said, if they can get into next weekend with Florida, who is the defending champ. I do think with Nebraska being the top 4 seed, and again, we could start to kind of think beyond just one game. It almost seems like a sin to do so when Nebraska had never won an NCAA tournament game. But now we're here, and I've been saying it all along, and it makes sense, right, because you're the top-ranked 4 seed, is that Nebraska's path isn't as hard as some of these other paths, or it doesn't appear to be on paper, right? Like the East bracket, at the top of that thing, Duke, Siena gave them all. I wasn't even counting Siena, but Siena gave Duke all they could ask for. TCU, Ohio State came down to the buzzer. You have St. John's and Kansas at the top of that thing, Michigan State, UCLA, UConn, all those teams in that bracket. For Nebraska, yes, Vanderbilt's a solid team, right? It's going to be somewhat of an even matchup. But even past that, I think Florida's the weakest number 1 seed and just lost to Vanderbilt. So it's a bit of a surprise to see Vanderbilt potentially as a Sweet 16 matchup with Florida. But that's how they did it. That's how it's kind of come across. But I guess I say all that just to say no matter what, you're going to make Elite 8, Sweet 16. It's going to be hard. You're going to be playing good opponents. But I think the path, at least as far as 4 seeds for Nebraska, is set up pretty well here. You look at, the 5 seed. Now, you could talk me out of this now. The West region, all right, the 5 seed was Wisconsin. 5 seeds out, High Point won. So maybe would have had a better opportunity there.
I talked about them when during that. I said they had the best point differential in college basketball playing in the Big South Conference, 19 point differential for High Point, and they proved it. Playing a Wisconsin team who a lot of people are high on, even myself, with Blackwell and Nick Boyd, the guard tandem. They did score points, but High Point, they have a couple guys who just are shooters. But yeah, Denny from Mobile says, let's not look ahead, fellas. Just get by Vandy. I think that, yes, I think, hey, Denny, we are excited. If you were in the building here at Wings and Rings between 1:45 and 2, it's probably described of what you think Indiana football was like when they went undefeated in the regular season. It was crazy. I mean, surreal, something we'll talk about to the end of the time, that we will be 30 years from now. Bach can tell his kids basically that this happened. But yeah, I say don't look past Vandy, because Vandy is a very good team. Like the SEC conference, they were in the SEC championship game for a reason. Did they play great today? I don't know. Not great, but McNeese is a team that's been there before. They're a different McNeese team too. Coach Will Wade goes to NC State, takes that job. But they have that. Will Wade, when he left, said, hey, we laid the foundation for McNeese basketball. And they proved it today. They had a foundation and gave everything they got. Experienced team. Troy gave Nebraska a run for about 10 minutes, but Nebraska was able to get past that with Price Sanford scoring 23 points. I did tell Rudy he was going to score 25, so I was pretty close on that. But yeah, we can't overlook the next one. But goalposts can't be moved. Nebraska's never been this far. They're playing on a Saturday in March, something we haven't said. I mean, they did play last year in the Crown. Let's don't at me on that. Like, oh, they did play in April last year. Yeah. But then the NCAA tournament, they've never been this far. So let's enjoy the moment, enjoy what's happened, and something we'll always forget. That's everything I'll look at. Let's enjoy the moment. I think for the players and the fans who are in Oklahoma City and the coaches and the staff, just be in the moment and enjoy it, because this is something this team's only got one game left in them potentially. If a loss, we'll never see the Nebraska team like this. This group of 15 together again, because guys are going to graduate and transfer and everything, or guys are going to return. We just got to enjoy the moment. And so far, the game ended about 4 hours ago. We're still living in the moment. and soak this one in, especially those guys in Oklahoma City.
I have to argue with Denny though, because I do want to look ahead. For the first time in my Nebraska basketball life, I want to at least, certainly breathe it in, certainly respect Vanderbilt. I know all the attention is going to be on them, and I get his point. But for the first time in my life, Nebraska basketball is going to be among 32 teams competing for a national championship. And Vanderbilt, like we said, it's going to be an even matchup. It's going to be a tough matchup. And we spent the first 10 minutes kind of talking about it that way. But again, for the first time in Nebraska basketball history, you're allowed to kind of dream past this ceiling that stops at the NCAA tournament. Now, is there going to be maybe the new ceiling's the round of 32? Maybe you won't pass that for years and years. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it gets done Saturday. But for me, this is it's as close to Nebraska's ever been to a national championship right now.
Technically, you're not
right
wrong.
Now.
Technically, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily putting those expectations. There's no, hey, it's this or bust. This is the best season in Nebraska basketball history. They now have the most win total. They won the NCAA tournament. They reached number 5 in the nation earlier this year. Just about any way you can measure it, this is the best season in Nebraska basketball history. Could it come to a crash again versus Vanderbilt or Florida or, heck, Clemson or Iowa if they make it there, right? Yes, any of these teams, anybody that's still playing, especially into the round of 32, certainly has earned the right for your respect and your full undivided attention. Again, that will be the case in the locker room. But just for me, just for today, I'm going to dream big. I'm going to start thinking, about maybe a little bit of a run here in March Madness for Nebraska.
Yeah, see, Ogie says in the chat, I hear you, Bach. Be okay. Be okay, Bach. But B-O-C-K, but that's fine. A 56-year-old and was starting to doubt this day. I mean, because we've usually, in past, we've seen it in recent memory. 2014 against Baylor. Nebraska was knocking on the door to finally get that. Brandon Pierre Jackson and Isaiah Austin in that group. In Baylor with Tim Miles. 2 years ago, Keisei Tominaga Mania runs wild in Memphis, Tennessee, taking on an A&M team who Nebraska, everyone really thought that was the game. And Brandon Wade Taylor in that Buzz Williams team. This is a moment that people will remember for the rest of their life, and soak it all in. Like, I'm not saying just because you're moving on, you shouldn't soak it. Soak it all in. Celebrate. That's what Friday's going to be for. I told the kid who won a T-shirt in our raffle today here at Buffalo Wings and Rings, I said, I was like, oh, you got out of school today. And Dad goes, well, he's going back to school tomorrow. And I said, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And he's like, well, he already tried to convince me. I'm like, well, you still got time. And that's what I mean. Like, soak it in.
A few school days when there's history being made.
2 days. Maybe they already had spring break, so it's kind of like spring break 2.0.
Yeah.
Kid's pretty smart, named JJ. He got a T-shirt, so he'll be rocking that probably tomorrow at school or maybe back here at Buffalo Wings. Maybe at the game day on Saturday. But exciting times because you should soak it all in because we're sitting here usually at this time. I mean, this is my first year out here with you guys at the ticket. And usually you guys are probably down here and it's like, oh, Nebraska basketball's done. We're just soaking in the moment with the rest of them. This is different, I assume, because you said you've done this for 13 years in some shape or form. And you've never had a moment where, oh, Nebraska's in the tournament. They're done by Thursday or Friday. And then you just turn the page. Oh, let's talk about the rest of the college basketball. Now we have a chance. Saturday we'll talk about it. Sunday, Monday it'll be a topic of discussion. And if they do win on Saturday, you have another week of Sweet 16 basketball for Nebraska basketball. And it shows that Nebraska, hey, we're one of the best 16 teams left. And by the committee's look, they were.
Yeah.
And they can prove it.
Well, and two, I mean, I think it can't be overlooked. Just the win today obviously puts Nebraska in new territory. But for Nebraska fans, long-suffering Nebraska fans, as I like to call it, just to be in March Madness is a little bit odd, right? The 9th game in Nebraska history today, now 1-8 in March Madness. But the crazy thing is, I mean, you talk about the turn of the century. I'm talking about the year 2000. Including this year, Nebraska has been in the tournament 3 times. So it's not just about, how weird it is to kind of be in the second round. It's weird still for any of us, I think, for the majority that weren't around for the early 90s and, 4 straight years of the NCAA tournament. These have kind of been one-offs here, or at least, if you go 2 years ago, then you make the crown now, 3 straight 20-win seasons and all that. I'm not saying that Nebraska doesn't have the stability moving forward, but the Tim Miles year, I said it for years too. After that, you could return, you could describe that team as the tournament team, and everybody in the state would know who you're talking to.
Mhm.
That's good for them, bad for the state of the program. You don't want to say one team is the tournament team, especially when it was a team that was an 11th seed and lost in the first round. And again, nothing against them. That was a magical run itself, and I love the Tim Miles era and that run with Fran Petaway and Walter Pitchford and Siobhan Shields and Ty Webster and all those guys. But of course now, moving all these years later, it feels like this is something we can get used to. Obviously, we'll have plenty of time to talk about, moving into the future. But this program feels like, it's one thing to be a top 15 team. It's another thing to be a top 15 program. I don't think Nebraska's there yet, just because you're going to need multiple years to prove that sort of thing. But they are trending in that direction. So this unfamiliar feeling that we're feeling right now, embrace it, because hopefully 5 years from now, we're not impressed with a first-round win, and we do have our eyes set on bigger prizes.
And this is just the expectation. The goalposts get pushed as you continue to build the program. The biggest thing from today, I think, is just embracing the moment and knocking off those ghosts of Nebraska basketball past. I also think the first game is always the toughest. You get situated in neutral site, but Nebraska fans turned out in full force down there. But just getting past that first game, I think, was just the thing. Getting situated into the gym you're going to be playing in, at the Raycom Center there in Oklahoma City. Getting situated. And Nebraska got situated. They have a fan base behind them. So PBA South is, I guess, the coin they're doing. And that's just the first game. Now you have 2 more days until they play Vanderbilt. And, I mean, some of the people we saw today may be taking work off tomorrow and making the trip down to Oklahoma City.
That's right.
There's tickets available. I don't know. I know Nebraska, the tickets were flying off the shelf down there.
So it would not be cheap.
Okay, but hey, if you're, hey, it's worth it.
It's history.
If you're part of history, you've been watching the Nebraska basketball through its ups and downs. A lot of downs there when Fred Hoiberg got hired, because people are even questioning him right off the bat. Like, they had some ugly years when he came in, and this is the same program that had Brett Banks and Noah Vedral suit up in a Big Ten tournament game just a couple of years. Like, that wasn't long ago.
Yeah. It's interesting too, and do give credit to the higher ups at Nebraska for sticking with Fred. Now, at some point, you might say, that's ridiculous. He's world, he's an NBA coach, and obviously had success at Iowa State. But I mean, the first 3 years here at Nebraska were pretty rough, and just to be quite honest, 2 of them were pretty much rebuilding. The first year, you only had Thorothy Runyon
lost to UC Riverside in his first game.
It was rough, and you had 7 wins. Then the next year, 7 wins. So the point is, I get it. I mean, the name carried its weight. I'm glad they stuck with them, but they didn't have to. There would have been plenty of programs around the country, and the historic turnaround that he's had is historic, because you look at somebody after 3 years at a major program like Nebraska, there aren't too many success stories of, okay, well, they were able to turn this around and get to an NCAA tournament, much less, top 5 in the country. So credit to Nebraska for sticking through it. It might have been because of all those warts and ghosts and all that sort of stuff on the Nebraska program that they were. But Fred Hoiberg was able to find, kind of manage his assistants, find the right blend. Of course, early on in his tenure, you're getting the Delano Bantons and the Bryce McGowans. And so you're bringing in NBA level talent that Nebraska just hadn't seen, but it didn't blend together, right? And now you're seeing year after year kind of a similar defense, a similar offense kind of running through the bigs at the top of the post that can stretch it, or, Derek Walker wasn't necessarily stretched, but was still able to run their offense up there. So they've got consistency, and we've talked about it. It's going to help certainly with recruiting, as will today, kind of help with recruiting. But is all the stories that they're going to have, all the success stories that they can have from not just this as a team, but individually, the different players. And we'll see. Hopefully this is just the start of it. Bryce Sanford, if he gets going, you almost wonder, again, anytime you start to think about the now into the future, I'll take the magnificent run from in the tournament. But of course, if he does too well, then he's going to move up those draft boards. He's been playing so well. He's been doing that. Now he's mocked in the middle of the second round. So we'll see how it plays out. But one way or the other, you got to live and breathe and love what's going on with Husker basketball right now, because one way or the other, there will not be this team again, right? And, there's seniors departing. There'll certainly be some roster attrition and change in the offseason, because that's modern day basketball, and you can't fault guys for taking opportunities that might be there. as long as they're not, kind of going to an opposite an opponent or something. But the point is, altogether, is just love this team right now. Breathe in this energy because we've waited since, 1896, Nebraska started first basketball team. We've waited all this time to get to this high. So don't start looking too far ahead and worried about the future. Breathe in the present.
Early quote of the day came from Troy's head coach, Scott Cross, after the game. He said, "I would like to thank the Lord for the opportunity to get our guts absolutely ripped out." That's a good way to describe the game. Scott Cross, stand-up guy. Seems like a really good coach. Troy will be back. They have a really good program. They've been in the tournament the last 2 years. Nothing really to hang their head on. Just ran into a buzzsaw in Nebraska, as Scott Cross said. Before we go to break, we still have a couple more people down here. There's a couple of games on right now, but one of the TVs here has cycle ball on right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm watching this it's like soccer on a bike, and I'm very taken away from it. I don't know.
It's like 2-on-2. Is there goalies?
I don't know. You think Terrell Farley could pull that off? Terrell would probably talk it up. I don't know. It's distracting me. As I look up, I'm like, oh, what's the score of the Michigan State game? I look up and I see cycle ball. I don't know how you get good at that, but good for them, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we should try it out. Maybe,
I'm good.
Maybe we are professionals.
No,
we don't know.
Broken bones and collarbones and all that in between. So, no, cycle ball looks interesting, though.
It's strange.
But, yeah.
It's a small court.
We'll go to break now, but we'll talk about other games across the entire tournament. We saw Siena nearly pull off the shocker of all shockers of this tournament. And a couple other ones that are very interesting. High Point being another. We'll talk about next. Old School, Nick Wyman, Jake Bachman. We'll be right back here on 91.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to March Mayhem, live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies with light winds. It'll be warm with an afternoon high near 81. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and calm winds, a low around 48. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with a light breeze, warm again with a high near 84. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Do you ever feel okay in your current job and profession, but wonder if there's a better company that can offer more? Vision Mechanical is now hiring for journeyman plumbers and HVAC service technicians. Vision Mechanical offers top-of-the-industry wages, 100% paid health, disability, and life insurance, 401k with employee match, and paid holidays and vacation. Vision Mechanical believes in craftsmanship, teamwork, and building a better future one project at a time. Apply today or learn more at visionmechanical.net or email Ron at vmech.net. Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally...
What?
You know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Nebraska men's basketball is dancing. The Huskers qualified for the NCAA tournament, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to cover all the action. Follow me, Austin Orman, on all 93.7 The Ticket social media platforms for updates throughout Nebraska's appearance in the Big Dance. Our coverage from Oklahoma City is made possible by Sandhills Careers and Insight Partners. Hey fellas, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, so here's your friendly reminder that ignoring your gut isn't a strategy on the field or in real life. Once you hit 45, screening isn't optional anymore. It can literally save your life. Advanced medical imaging makes it easy with fast, comfortable CT colonography. No hospital hoops, no all-day ordeal. Just a simple scan that helps you stay ahead of the game. Talk to your doctor about getting your screening ordered at AMI and keep yourself in the lineup for the long run.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those 2 magical days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with the lucky team on it and stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O. If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com. For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
You're listening to March Mayhem. Live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The beautiful day continues here outside and inside at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O. It was so crowded earlier. We did get some folks out there on the porch watching the game outside. It was a beautiful experience here as the building was filled in red, watching Nebraska get their 76-47 victory over Troy. I'm Jake Bachman. He's Nick Wyman. We are in today as the usual hosts of Old School, Austin Orman and Jay Foreman down in OKC. Enjoyed the game live. I assume they'll stay there till Saturday and watch that one as well. I know Austin will. I have to go check with Jay, but stay tuned. Likely going to be joining us from OKC tomorrow for Old School, if you're kind of planning on hearing those guys. Want to give a shout out again. Thanks to Graham Tire Company for what they do for Old School here. Graham Tire Company is celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too, from brakes to oil changes. Trust Graham Tire for services you can count on. Graham Tire getting you to the places that matter most here. And Nick, as we take a little bit of a break here with the basketball action, there is one game still going. It is March. That means it is Izzo time. No problem for Michigan State as they are destroying North Dakota State under a minute now, 89-67 after a 20-point lead at halftime for Sparty. So again, always a good choice to choose to choose Izzo in March on your brackets. As we look forward and look past, in fact, let's start by looking at the games that went final. If you haven't seen, Arkansas did beat Hawaii. Didn't get to 100, but they did beat them 97-78. So the 4-seed the 4-seed Arkansas moving on today. Maybe the game of the day was Duke and Siena. A 16 seed. Siena was right there with Duke, all game long. In fact, they had a 43-32 lead over Duke at halftime. What was really interesting about this game,
that was the largest deficit a number one seed ever faced at halftime with a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament history. We've had 16 seeds lead at half, but by double figures is wild to see, especially from this Blue Devil team, which is a favorite in a lot of people's brackets. They
absolutely. And, it would have been the worst Duke loss in history. The thing about Siena, too, is you wonder if I don't think they felt like they had, the depth to play with Duke. And so if they would have put some of those backup guys out there, maybe things would have got lost. So they basically ran 5 guys all game long. I think that happened one other time, or just hasn't happened often in NCAA history. They ended up with 3 guys with 4 fouls and 1 guy with 3 fouls. I think one man did come off the bench, played under a minute. But for the most part, it was those 5 guys. So it's crazy if Siena and was able to get 1 or 2 more guys on campus this year that they felt not could play at Duke, but could run with Duke on the court. Maybe Jerry McNamara would have had a victory there. Certainly for Siena in their recruiting, all that, this is going to go a long way. Jerry McNamara, if you don't remember, absolute deadly shooter for Syracuse back in the day, playing with Hakeem Warwick and Carmelo Anthony, helping lead them to a national title back in the day. But yeah, Duke was able to overcome it, get the win. Cameron Boozer with 22 points, but Caden Boozer, who has been playing particularly well, made some plays down the stretch to help Duke get that win. So I think all things considered, that was probably the game of the day so far, just because of the scare that was there for Duke.
Well, and
of course, outside of Nebraska.
In that game with Duke, they were missing one of their guards, Caleb Foster, in that game. And maybe that goes along with it's weird because they were a team that looked good in the ACC tournament, regardless of who was on the floor. And maybe that's the one game that John Shire's group has a scare in. We've seen teams where, hey, if getting past that first game is the hardest. I want to touch a little bit on Michigan State winning that game 92-67 over North Dakota State. Trace Anderson, 10 points with a board and 2 assists for the Bison. Lincoln Pye is a 10th graduate playing for North Dakota State. So interesting. Sam Griesel played up there for a little bit, then made his way to Nebraska. Now he's there. I don't know if he's entered the transfer portal, but hey, it's just interesting, NEB Preps connection, high school connection. We saw Lincoln Pye 10th in the state tournament last week when in our coverage across the girls and the boys state tournament.
Hoiberg went to Pius as well, so they've got
exactly that Pius a 10th connection. You also have 2 Knicks here went to Pius a 10th as well, so nice little Pius.
Yeah, but you guys weren't as good on the basketball.
No. Maybe one day we'll 1v1, but no, not till then. Arkansas and Hawaii was an interesting one for me because Arkansas obviously won the SEC conference, which is a tough task to do. But Hawaii, I was really high on because they had a really good lengthy team. Maybe they could hit some shots down the stretch. I didn't want to see them play Nebraska by any means because I thought the Rainbow Warriors were able to score at will and maybe outplay some good ball against Nebraska. But Arkansas winning, if we talk about winning your conference tournament leading to a game like this is a group to watch out for in that region because if they can get past Arizona, sky's the limit for that Razorback team. And you got to remember who their coach is, John Calipari. He has slipped up in the first round a couple of times while he was coaching with the Kentucky Wildcats, but he also has a lot of success wherever he goes.
Well, they've got some of that Walton money down there. So even though Arkansas, it's been a while since Nolan Richardson had those guys running and being one of the best in college basketball. So I'm saying they do have some history, but don't let their logo confuse you. That is a well-paid team, and Darius Cuff Jr. is going to be even more well-paid once he goes off to the NBA. But yes, I know a lot of people had that as a pick. The interesting part about that was that I just was so interested in that Arkansas-Wisconsin matchup. That was 2 hot teams that was set up for round 2, and then the winner would likely play Arizona. Again, this is all if chalk happens. Chalk did not happen as High Point beat Wisconsin, and the Big Ten had their second team lose after Ohio State lost early in the day. Not as concerned about that as if they hear Nebraska, because who cares about the Big Ten? Now you're focused on Nebraska at this point. But yes, Wisconsin, as hot as they were here in the later half of the season, I know Nebraska beat them by 30. A lot of people kind of just put them in the back burner of their mind. But Wisconsin, and there are so many good Big Ten teams that you might forget. They went 14-6 in the Big Ten this year, and obviously were incredible with Boyd and Blackwell going off. Well, those guys did it again. Boyd had 27, Blackwell had 22, but it wasn't enough. High Point, I took the lead, actually. I think Boyd with Wisconsin with the lead, drove hard to the hole. High Point was able to rebound, and then one of their players leaked out for a layup. Wisconsin was never able to get even a shot off, I believe, at the horn. So it ended that way for Wisconsin. Their season's wrapped up. Didn't hurt anybody's feelings here with the pro-Nebraska crowd at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68-0. High Point wins the game. That doesn't make it any easier for Arkansas in the next round because High Point obviously proved to be the better team, at least today, against Wisconsin. But I was looking forward to Wisconsin-Arkansas. Now I'm looking forward to Arkansas-High Point, the beauty of the tournament.
Yeah, the Panthers 31-4 now in the season. Rob Martin is starting shooting guard, 23 points, 9-23, 40% from three. You look at their bench. So number 99, Chase Johnston, is a story. He is the epitome of a March Madness phenomenon that happens. So 22 minutes off the bench, 14 points, 5 of 7 from the floor, 4 of 6 from three. Entering the conference championship game in the Big South, he was 64 of 132 from three. Okay. He was 0 of 4 from inside the three-point line. He does not shoot twos. He shot a couple two-point shots in this game. So,
well, it was just the one, right? The leaked out layup.
A basket to basically win the game. He is a three-point shooter. He's kind of like Jack Golke of the Oakland. Sure. So you get kind of a little bit of vibes that. That's what March Madness is about. I mean, like, you think in basketball, how the heck do you not get inside the paint at all? Like, at all. So basically, that was his first made two-point basket probably all season for the most part. And it was one of the biggest buckets of the season at this point for this Panthers High Point basketball team. And like I said, they can put up points. 31 wins, regardless of conference, is no joke in the world of college basketball. 19.8 point differential on the season. Obviously goes down now because of a close game with Wisconsin. But coming into the tournament, they can score. They have some scores, and they're going to be playing a team in Arkansas. That's a very fun game on Saturday, to say the least.
Yeah, it will be. Now, 15-game winning streak for a High Point. They average 90 points per game this year. Like you said, competition might factor into that to a degree, but ultimately 90 points in 31 wins now. That's a heck of a year for them. They have 6 players, by the way, that score over 9 points per game, shoot close to 49% field goal range throughout the year. So again, we'll see if they can keep it rolling. They might be the story of the tournament. Certainly will be if they can beat Arkansas coming up. We mentioned Vanderbilt McNeese. We might dive into that a little bit more in the next segment as we're up against it here. But the only other games that have gone final is Louisville, which beat South Florida 83-79. Had a 10-point halftime lead. South Florida was able to jump back in that. Louisville playing without their best player, Mikael Brown, I believe, for the entire weekend.
Yep,
so we'll see
opening
if he's
weekend.
able to come back next week if they make it that far. And then TCU, Ohio State, one of the tougher games to pick, I thought, going into this, as the 8-9 matchups are supposed to be, and it played out that way. Came down to the very final shot. What a career it's been for Bruce Thornton. Didn't get the best of looks. It was kind of like a half-court heave, not particularly close. Ohio State ends up losing. They had to come back from a huge halftime deficit to TCU, 39 to 24 at halftime. But again, TCU now winners of 7 of their last 8. They've beaten Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Florida on the year. Still somehow a 9 seed. Now going up against that Duke team that struggled against Siena. That will be a heck of a second.
Magic of March. When we come back, we can preview the night session. The night games start tipping off here in about 5 minutes. We can preview the rest of the games on tap. So it's been fun. We still have some stragglers hanging around here. We got some bartenders with our shirts on as well. So that's nice to see. Love to see the hospitality across the board. So we'll be back. 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to the Old School here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to March Mayhem, live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
John just tried Runza's new Jam and Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally.
What?
You know.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jam and Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for their 14th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an exclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, they're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Coppell. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at coppellcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G173977 with approved credit.
Early break is hitting the road to the NCAA tournament in Oklahoma City. Join me, Jake Sorensen, Steve Sipple, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 a.m. in the outdoor patio area of the Courtyard Marriott in downtown OKC on both Thursday and Friday. Come down and hang out to start the day before Nebraska plays Troy on Thursday, and then join us on the off day on Friday as well. Early Break's trip to OKC is made possible by Sandhills Careers, who is growing in Lincoln. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Hi, Charlie Stone again, and Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln will be joining me to talk about the Honda Spring event. Andy, I know this is a big event for you. Please tell us all about it.
I want to start out by thanking the Lincoln car buyers for an incredible year in 2025. It's just been announced that Honda of Lincoln is Nebraska's only Honda dealer to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2025.
Wow, that's great, Andy. How many times now have you earned that President's Award?
It's a total of 20 times now, Charlie. The Honda Spring event is truly a big event for us. We have incredible savings on every remaining 2025 and every new 2026. Special low rates, long-term financing, and special lease rates.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
You're listening to March Mayhem, live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here on Old School, Jake Bachman and Nick Wyman filling in for Austin Orman and Jay Foreman. Was able to talk to Jay there. Very much thanks to him and his friends that he brought along with it, because he couldn't come today, so he sent in a few of his buddies that you might know by the name of Grant Westerman, Jason Peter. They were on for an hour earlier today on Old School. That was a lot of fun as we get ready for Nebraska football around the corner, the spring game next week. We can get ready for that. But, of course, today, a lot about Nebraska basketball and their victory. Of course, Nebraska women won last night as well. So you've now got two teams dancing in March. Not just here, but dancing as they've got victories and are moving on. The Huskers now know who their next opponent will be, and we will spend a lot of tomorrow, I'm sure, talking about that matchup as Vanderbilt beat McNeese. We just went through the last segment talking, Nick, about a lot of the games that happened thus far, but of course there is still a full slate of games this evening. Are there any specific games that you're particularly interested as you look at tonight's slate?
Well, you got VCU tipping off against North Carolina. Caleb Wilson out for the Tar Heels. VCU a trendy pick in that conference coming out of there with his 11 seed. Another 6-11. You have BYU with A.J. DeBonsa, nation's leading scorer, going against a team from Texas. We always see a team from the play-in usually make some kind of run as an 11 seed. We've seen what UCLA a couple years back. Texas and Miami, Ohio are those two teams. So maybe Texas has their feet wet. Obviously, you have to travel out to go play that game against the Cougars in a very prolific scorer and projected top 3 NBA draft pick. St. Mary's A&M should be a fun one. St. Mary's, the West Coast Conference, 3-bid league. The one I got my eye on probably right now is Penn in Illinois, just because you have Illinois, who was the hottest team in the country about 6 weeks ago. However, that's not when the season's decided. Keaton Wagler, really good freshman player, another guy who will be playing in the pros at some point, taking on a Penn team. And Fran McCaffrey.
Our buddy Fran.
Goes back to his alma mater, his first year back there. I mean, I know he was an Iowa guy, but he was very fun. I remember when he stared down the referee that one time after a timeout. He's a character, and I think that's what college basketball needs, and that's kind of what he's done. This Quakers team, TJ Hunter's one of their guards, transfer from Duke, actually, dropped 40-some points in the Ivy League championship game to help the Quakers to a win over Yale. Yale, usually a staple out of the Ivy League in it. So Penn getting a crack at Illinois tonight. So a meeting of the minds, Brad Underwood and Fran McCaffrey. It's Fran McCaffrey. You can't escape him. He's still a Big Ten coach in some shape, in form, and he's in here with Penn University. Not Penn State, Penn. And then a couple other games. I mean, tomorrow will be interesting as well. You'll see Miami, Ohio play Tennessee. Nebraska women are action, 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll be here while that game goes on. Bach in the black shirt. I'll be helping step it in for not the black shirt, but the Bach, I should say, during that. But they play Baylor. Should be a fun one. It's all basketball. March Madness is here, baby.
Yeah, just a reminder again to come out if you can. In fact, you can. You should. Tell your boss you're off tomorrow. 68-0 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We had an absolute blast here today. We'll have an absolute blast tomorrow as well. Same time, 11 to 6 with 93.7 The Ticket with Buffalo Wings and Rings. I can't wait for more of their food tomorrow. It was delicious.
Those wings
today.
were good.
Oh, man, I might even stick around and have dinner here. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 from Buffalo Wings and Rings and 68-0. Thanks for listening to Old School and 93.7 The Ticket all day long on a historic day. Go Big Red.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to March Mayhem. Live coverage of the NCAA tournament from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68-0 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here.